Hello, beautiful people. So today I'm going to talk about romance and specifically talking about your romance blueprint. Do you know what that is? So we'll hop into it in a little bit. But for those who are watching this for the first time, I'm Legina, also known as Coach LJ. I'm an intimacy coach that has a passion for Christian married women, and I help them to embrace and express their desires without shame and guilt so they can amp up their intimacy inside and outside of the bedroom. So let's talk about romance. I hear plenty of married women say, my husband's not romantic. I wish we had more romance. The romance has fizzled out and died. I want him to do something romantic. I want romantic gestures. And I'm sure you've heard that too. And when I hear that, I always say, okay, I get it. I get it. I'm pretty sure, like when you were dating, there was a lot of romance. He was wining you and dining you and flowers and things like that. And you've been married now, 5, 10, 15, maybe 20 plus years. And you feel that that's kind of left, gone by the wayside. But when I hear that, I always say, okay, well, when you speak of romance, what are you talking about specifically? What does romance mean to you? Because what you may have thought was romantic when you were dating, engaged, and married may evolve and change. For instance, when I was dating my husband, and even in the beginning of our marriage, he was definitely a flower giver. He loved to buy me flowers just for surprise. He'd always like to buy me flowers, and I loved it. I was like, oh, it's so sweet. I love the flowers. But after marriage and a few kids and allergies, I told him one day, I was like, babe, I don't really need the flowers. You can get me something else. And so I had to tell him, what else is it that I liked or I wanted? Because, I think he was used to doing the flowers. And so that's my thing to wives. I want to ask you, what is it that you deem as romantic? Because your husband, just like in that scenario, may be very well doing things that he thinks is romantic for you, or he's trying to show his romantic side, but he may be missing the mark big time in your eyes. And so that's when you need to kind of think about, well, what does it mean? Do I want to have what I see in the movies, in the romance novels or the romantic movies? Is that what I'm looking for? And I think for everybody, it's very different and it's very specific and it's very unique to you as an individual, to you as a woman. So what someone may think is romantic, someone may not. And so that's what to say, what is it that you like and what is it that you think is romantic, and what are those gestures that your husband could do that would show his romantic side? Is that a walk in the park hand in hand? Is that going out for ice cream? Is that sending flowers on a regular basis or a surprise? Is that going out on a date? And not just a date, is that having him plan the date from beginning to end, and where he says, I've done everything, all I want you to do is show up? Is that a candlelight dinner that he's cooked? I mean, what are those things that he can do that you would look at and say, man, that was so romantic, or ooh, that I like that. He's kind of bringing the romance. And so I would kind of encourage you to think about what those things are and to sit down and write a list. It's going to take you a little bit of time. Think about what it is that you want him to do, exactly what you want him to do. And once you've kind of had time to think about it and to write it down, I would suggest that you have a conversation. Have a conversation with him. Sit him down and say, look, this is what I look at, or this is what I deem now as romantic. These are the gestures that if you were to do these things, I would look at it as you're being romantic. And talk about it, because you may be surprised. He may say, babe, I was doing X, Y, and Z. That's not romantic. Or maybe he's not doing anything romantic. I mean, he may not be doing anything romantic. But if you tell him those things, then the ball is in his court. And it's up to him. And he can't say, I didn't know. And he can't say, you didn't tell me, because you've had the conversation and you've sat down and spoken with him. Now, after you've done that, show a little bit of grace to him, because Like with anyone doing something new, it takes time. Like he may not get it right the first couple of times, but hopefully over time he will listen and he will do those things that you have asked, and it'll bring a little bit of the romance back into your relationship. All right, I hope you found this helpful. If you did, like and subscribe.